Hey guys, it's Yiping. Today I want to talk about the functions of biomolecules. There are four major classes of biomolecules that make up our bodies and other living organisms. They are carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. So the first one I want to talk about is carbohydrates. The major function of carbohydrates is to provide immediate energy. They are the main source of fuel for our bodies. The most common kind of carbohydrates that we use is glucose. The energy was obtained by plants through photosynthesis. After we consume them into our bodies, we will use the glucose to create ATP, which is the energy currency of the cell. And carbohydrate can also be used as energy storage when excessive energy is present in the body. The third function of carbohydrate is that it's an important structural component of cells. For example, in plant cell wall and chitin in insect shell, those are all examples of different carbohydrates are used as structural supports. The last two functions of carbohydrate are protection and cell recognition. As you can see in this picture, carbohydrates are either attached to a phospholipid or a protein. Based on the structure and types of carbohydrates, your body can recognize cells and determine if they should be there or not. The second major biomolecule that I'm going to talk about is lipid. These are the three main classes of lipid, including steroids, phospholipids, and fats. The most important function of lipids is to store energy in the long term, and they can also be a structural component of membranes. Phospholipid is a good example of membrane lipid. It forms phospholipid bilayers as cell membrane. And the last two functions of proteins are that they are important to synthesize hormones and vitamins. The next biomolecule that I want to introduce is protein. First of all, their most important function for life is as enzyme, which can increase the rate of chemical reactions inside our bodies. Most of the necessary chemical reactions in our body wouldn't be efficiently proceed without enzymes. Secondly, proteins play an important role in transportation. An example could be the sodium-potassium pump shown in this picture. It helps the movement of sodium ions and potassium ions to maintain a high concentration of sodium ions outside of the cell and high concentration of potassium ion inside the cell. Proteins are also structural components of the cell. Actin filaments and microtubules are both two important proteins to provide structural support for cells. There are also some contractile proteins that provide movement in muscles and movement within single cells. The last two functions of protein is to form hormones such as growth hormones and provide protective coats for cells. Now we are moving on to our last biomolecule, which is nucleic acids. There are two forms of nucleic acids, which including DNA and RNA. DNA is the storage of genetic information for all the living organisms, and nucleic acids are also in charge of cells' replication of genetic information. As for RNA, they direct the expression of genetic information by synthesizing proteins, and the subunit of nucleic acids, which are nucleotides also function as energy carriers and coenzymes to help with energy supplies inside our cells. Yeah, that's all I've got to say today. Hope it helps. See you next time.